We produced the framework and we asked to the competent authorities of the 11 countries to revise the framework, to provide their input, to suggest us how to change in order to produce something that is already adapted to the local situations.
Can you tell me a bit more about yourself, introduce yourself, your background, and so on?
I am a nutritionist working in public health nutrition in particular. I am a research director, and recently I changed my position, getting a new position at Italian level is the National Institute of Public Health. With the direction of a unit, and a human nutrition unit, working on public health nutrition, development of nutritional recommendations, and involvement in several joint actions.
You're also the coordinator of Planet. What motivated you to take this role, and what motivated you in this project concept?
The idea when we start this adventure, this journey, was challenging because the call explicitly was referred to the possibility to change our diet, the diet of European people, in terms of improving sustainability, to promote healthy diet. That is exactly what I was trying to do at the national level. So the idea is to replicate at the national level, at the European level, what was my work at the national level.
Can you tell us a bit more maybe about your specific activities in Planet projects and your specific role?
Beside the coordination, we as a CREA team, we coordinated the mapping. So all the issues related to have a picture of the food behaviors at European, of the 11 countries that are involved in Planet. We develop a very interesting publications and deliver on the publications, mapping the food habits, food consumption, mapping the disease that are related to the food consumption. We mapped the adherence to recommendations of the different countries. We mapped the level of sustainability of the diet of the countries participating, developing indicators that help us in definition of the different level of achievement of the sustainable development goals, for example. Another part of our work that is for us very challenging is to provide a kind of framework for food-based dietary guidelines. That means that Planet would not produce the guidelines, but will produce a framework. So a system that could be used by the member states to develop their own food-based dietary guidelines in a coordinated way. Is the first step, I think, to produce a coordinated action, a coherent actions that will put the 11 countries at the same level for an harmonized production of food-based dietary guidelines.
And throughout your different activities and results, were there some things that you didn't expect, or most of your results were what you expected them to be? For instance, the results of the mapping of dietary patterns. Did you have some surprises there, or were they like more expected?
Both this part. As usually in research, some results are related to the hypotheses that you have. So it was not surprising that the South Mediterranean countries like Spain, Greece, or Italy had indexes of adherence to the planetary healthy diet higher than Northern European countries. But what was surprising is to see in details the numbers and to see how things are changing over time. What I think we discover is that in the Northern European countries, several actions are in place to change the situation. So the indexes in time are better than the situation in the South European countries, meaning that changings are in the better way in the northern than in the south, in which the situation was good but was not changing in better.
Can you tell us a bit more about the framework for dietary guidelines? For instance, did you show it to some policymakers that are used to build dietary guidelines?
This is a very interesting question because we make how can I say, a research study on this framework. We avoided to do the framework as a product of the specialists and the researcher that are inside the project. We produced the framework and we asked to the competent authorities of the 11 countries to revise the framework, to provide their input, to suggest us how to change in order to produce something that is already adapted to the local situations, because we are aware of the fact that the production of guidelines is a specific task of the member states. It was very challenging and interesting activities because was not easy to put in the loop the local authorities, but we received a lot of input, and we think that the production of the framework, as well as the food guide, that is the representation in the figurative way, the guidelines, is a process, a collaborative process that increases the coherence. The next step of this will be the validation of all these parts at the level of member states, and we hope that we will be done by the competent authorities that provide inputs.
Which future would you see for this framework? Would you see it adopted in all EU countries? And
my idea is to provide this framework to the authority at European level that is devoted to do this kind of work, that is the EFSA, that provide recommendations, that provide a general aspect also for guidelines. I think that is an instrument that we produced and is a framework that could be the basis for future development in that sense. The added value of the activities is that we consider the food system. So we have not evaluated only the nutritional part, but we try to include sustainability and other aspects of the food system that are important to be considered. Another important aspect is that we put the basis for the harmonization of portion size. The portion size at the moment in Europe are different. Every country has its own portion size. So the idea is to have a common framework also in these cases. And this is important not only in nutritional terms, but also for labeling, commercial exchange in the European level. So it will be a way to improve the nutritional and not nutritional aspect in the different countries.
I have a final question for you, as you are the coordinator of Planet. What would you say was the main challenge of coordinating such a big project of 12 million euros, 24 partners? And what was the thing that you liked the most about this experience?
The most challenging and the most beautiful aspect of this activity was that were put in the same table people that have very different background, from people from nutrition, from public health, people in food policy, aspect related to sustainability, with agricultural people, people that comes from very different background, that probably at the end of the project, I would say, would remain in their position, that were in some cases very different. But I think that this is an added value because we cross-fertilize each other. So I think that this was the most challenging and the most interesting aspect of the project. I don't want to mention it, administrative and complicated situation that in some cases was relevant, but really the differences were the added value of the project itself.
Thank you very much, Laura.
Thank you to you, Juliette, for this interview.